morning. Welcome to the 2024 State of the City Address. I'm Randy Knight, the city manager, and I'm proud to preside over the event today. Thank you to the Rollins College Music Department for performing our official and original Winter Park Fanfare. This music was composed by Dr. John Sinclair years ago, specifically to be played each year at this event. And it's also my morning wake-up alarm. Thank you for joining us to celebrate the accomplishments of the City of Winter Park for this past year. This is the third year we have held this type of event where it was a citizen, community-focused State of the City Address. The Chamber of Commerce is hosting its annual State of the City Address next Friday, the luncheon, and it still has tickets available if you'd like to join us for that one also. I hope you had a chance to meet with our departments and the Key City staff beforehand. If not, you'll have that opportunity again at the end of this program to meet with them. At this time, our official program begins with a formal presentation of our nation's colors by the Winter Park Police Department Honor Guard, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation by Pastor Troy East of the New Hope Ministry Baptist Church. If you're able, please stand and remain standing until the conclusion of the prayer. Colors present. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. USA.
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, we come now, our Father, as the program suggests, as an invocation to invite you into this place, oh God. Father, each and every one of us have something to thank you for. So right now, Lord, we tell you thank you. And, oh Lord, we invite you into this place. Allow your presence to abide, bring peace and bring power. And let everyone understand that no matter what they've done for this great city, their work, oh God, has not been in vain. Father, we thank you for this beautiful city of Winter Park. We thank you for the leadership of the city. And most of all, oh Father, we thank you for your guiding light of this city. So, Father, come into this place and have your way. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Facing forward, march.
You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor East, for everything your church and you do for this community. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for joining us today. At this time, I would like to ask Mayor Phil Anderson, Vice Mayor Sheila DeCiccio, and City Commissioners Marty Sullivan and Kris Cruzada to join me on the stage. Commissioner Todd Weaver was unable to be with us today. You know, one of the best parts of my job is, as city manager, is recognizing good employees. And today we get to celebrate 3 of our most outstanding employees that were getting that recognition today. I would like to thank the mayor and city commission for their support of the employees. We're a service organization, and without employees, we can't get the job done. But this commission supports them in so many ways, and that really makes us able to do what we do every day. And I would like to thank all of our city employees for making this a great place to live, work, and play. Again, this year, we partnered with the Orlando Credit Union to present the very top honor given by the city, our Employee of the Year Awards. Please join me in thanking our friends at the Orlando Credit Union. With us today is Suzanne Weinstein, President and CEO, and David Duncan, Vice President of Marketing, Communications, and Public Relations. Please stand and be recognized. The Orlando Credit Union is awarding each of our winners today a $500 check, of which I get a 20% commission. So thank you, Suzanne and David. We appreciate everything you do to support our employees. At this time, I would like to ask Gary Hyatt, the Director of Building and Permitting Services, to present the City Employee of the Year Award, Sandra Brown.
Good morning. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank everybody for being here, and the special guests and friends of Sandra, Barry, Jacqueline, and Amber. Thank you for joining us today, and B, a very close friend and coworker. Also would like to thank the committee. They had a tough task, because I'm sure there was quite a few very qualified nominees, and their efforts are very much appreciated. Now, during this, when I'm up here talking, if I say something that sounds off the wall, I'll get back, I promise. A little more than 30 years ago, Jim Valvano gave a speech. He was a coach of the national champion NC State, and he gave a speech where he introduced the Jimmy B Foundation for Cancer Research. In that speech, he said there's 3 things we should do every day. They are laugh, think, and have your emotions driven to tears because of joy and happiness. I hope we can do that today. I can promise you I will. And not only that, making that a full day, we get to honor our Employees of the Year. First things first, Sandra is not perfect. I have proof. Her love and allegiance for the Tennessee Volunteers is proof positive of the imperfection. Wrong shade of orange, Sandra. Go Gators. Could be worse. It could be Florida State or Georgia. There goes my evaluation. So why are we here? Sandra did her job. It's quite simple. How can you stand up here and say the Employee of the Year did her job, and there's 500 plus employees that did their job? We'll get there. We'll get there. During life's adventures, there are brick walls that are in front of us. Sometimes we have to ascertain whether those walls are to keep you out or how bad you want to get to the other side. You go through it, around it, over it, but that's your choice. Last year, the building department, we struggled mightily. We had some departmental issues with health and all that. And all the co-workers pitched in to fill in the gaps. So here's where I'm off the trail a little bit. Have y'all ever let your butt get in the way of accomplishing something or moving forward? Now, what do I mean by that? Some of you know, most of you don't know that I live in Ormond Beach and I drive to Winter Park every day. Good things aren't always convenient. But there are mornings that it's like, you know, I'd go to work, but I-4's out there. I know what's coming. Or, you know, I'd go to work, but we weren't treated very nice yesterday. Can't happen. Last year, I knew something was up with Sandra. She wasn't spilling it, but you have a sense. One day, she asked to meet with the leadership of the department, and Sandra told us she had stage 3 cancer. Told you, number 3. So how about this? I'd go to work, but I had chemo, and I don't feel good. I'd go to work, but I had radiation. It made me sick. I can't eat. Those are real. I-4's not. Those buts make my I-4 very trivial. A preacher once, in a sermon I was in, the preacher said, in order to accomplish things and get to the finish line, you got to get your butt out the way. So Sandra, armed with her ginger ale and saltine crackers, came to work. She got her butt out the way. All she was going through. Sometimes it didn't work, and we could tell. Sandra never tried to let on, but we could tell looking at you. And she had to go home, but she got there. That's true dedication and an inspiration to me and the department, putting all those things behind her and getting there to be part of the team. Side effects of her treatments. Yep, Sandra lost her hair. She sat there, and one day she was looking at hair pieces, and she decided, I'm embracing this. I don't need to cover it up. But the time came when she looked at me one day and told me she had more hair than me. That's when I thought we were on the upswing. Sandra got the butts out of the way, conquered the brick walls, and she never gave up. The motto of the B Foundation is don't give up, don't ever give up. Sandra did not give up. After the award was announced, Clarissa, where are you? I told you I'd use your name. She made a comment to me that she didn't know Sandra's story. That summed it up, because everything looked ordinary. She was just doing her job under extraordinary circumstances. Not easy to make it look that easy. Again, I want to thank the committee for their understanding. Even though it looked ordinary, it was extraordinary. I have a request of you, Sandra. At the end of her treatments, she rang the bell. Chemo's done, cancer-free. All of us didn't get to go and witness that. I've seen the videos. However, I have a bell. If you would do us the honor of ringing the bell, I'd truly appreciate it. Thank you.
But to both of you, I want to say, go dogs. That's hard to top, Chief. Now I'm going to bring up Fire Chief Dan Hagedorn. He will present our Fire Rescue Employee of the Year, Jack Timmes. Unfortunately, Jack was unable to be with us today due to some previous travel plans, but Chief will share why he was chosen as Firefighter of the Year. Chief?
Thank you, everyone. Wow, amazing story, Sandra. Congratulations. It's hard to even describe how that makes me feel, just hearing that and knowing your struggle, and congratulations very much. As Randy stated, thank you, Randy, for the lead-in. Jack's not with us today, Jack Timmes, which will definitely be on his evaluation going forward. But kind of put me in a little situation to follow up Sandra, but I will try my best, so stay with me. So when it comes to recruiting the very best firefighters for Winter Park, I'll be honest, but I won't apologize. I expect more of our employees and probably other departments in their recruiting. That's because we as a community, all of you here, ask more of our personnel, whether in terms of responding to fires or providing the very best patient care or experiencing other emergencies. Simply put, we aim to recruit the best. And so for me, as always, it's an honor and a privilege to shine the light on one of our very best. Of course, he's not here today. When I was asked to introduce this year's Firefighter of the Year, one word came to me this year more than others, was the word more. Who is the more that we talk about? Who sets the gold standard? The more that we talk about is what you can see when lifting a small child into the fire truck for the first time, or when reading with great enthusiasm to children during one of our many story times at daycares. You can certainly see you can genuinely feel the more that he gives each and every day as he performs during training and while also on emergency scenes. And that in turn brings more to being a firefighter in this community. Firefighter Timmes is homegrown, many of you may know, from right here in Winter Park. He attended St. Margaret Mary and attended Bishop Moore High School. He is part of a family that believes in service to its community, and remarkably, he has joined our organization just a few short years ago. In that short time, he's quickly embraced our values of being compassionate, being accountable, responsible, and being able to show empathy to those in their times of need, all of which are our department core values. He has quickly become the example for others, and I'd like to thank him for his service and commitment to the city of Winter Park and the fire department. I am proud to announce Firefighter Jack Timmes as Firefighter of the Year.
Chief, since he's not here, we'll split the 500. And now I'd like to ask Police Chief Tim Volkerson to present the Police Department Employee of the Year to Kaitlin Gonzalez.
Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I would like everyone in here to know Kaitlin loves to be the center of attention. So she's very happy about standing up here in front of everyone today. Much like Gary, I'll use a coach. I'm not going to name him because he coaches for another SEC team. But he said we all have 5 choices in everything we do. We can choose to be bad. We can choose to be average. We can choose to be good, we can choose to be excellent, or we can choose to be elite. Now, most of us, just with our God-given ability, can be good at most things we do. But to get to the level of excellent or elite, it takes dedication, it takes commitment, and it takes hard work. So today we are recognizing not only our Police Officer of the Year, but our firefighter and other Employee of the Year, and those 3 have chosen to be elite in what they do. So I commend them for making that choice every day to come in and to be elite. So Master Police Officer Kaitlin Gonzalez has extreme dedication, not only to the citizens of Winter Park, but to our law enforcement officers as well. Kaitlin has a drive and determination in training our next generation of law enforcement officers and our current law enforcement officers in various topics that make her stand out. Kaitlin currently instructs first aid, defensive tactics, firearms, and taser, just to name a few. In December of '22, Kaitlin was reassigned to the training division due to her knowledge, skills, and abilities as a training instructor in the various law enforcement topics. Specifically, Kaitlin was assigned as the range master at our Winter Park's firearms range. The hopes were Kaitlin would provide a new perspective to our training program and revamp training to make it a little more fun, yet provide the foundation necessary to keep our officers safe in the field. She was tasked with cleaning up the range, organizing the equipment, and putting together lesson plans for officer training. Kaitlin took it a step further and has made the range an inviting atmosphere for everyone. The changes were immediate as officers quickly noticed little things like a snack and coffee table that was thoughtfully set up for those long training days at the range. If you know police officers, we love our food. Most importantly, it was evident that the training program put together by Kaitlin was thoughtfully planned out, taught with enthusiasm and encouragement. The topics taught to our law enforcement officers all consist of training to optimize performance, as well as provide the ability to protect and serve the community at the highest level. Kaitlin is described as the tough but caring big sister that we are all a little afraid of, but strive to be like throughout our careers. And I promise you, everyone at the department is a little afraid of her. Aside from training our law enforcement officers, Master Police Officer Kaitlin Gonzalez has been tasked with planning and coordinating our civilian firearms safety course, which include new topics such as laws on the permitless carry, as well as defensive gun retention techniques for gun owners. This training has shown to be a high priority for our citizens as our class filled up, which we just had, in less than 4 hours. We are certain that Kaitlin's continued firearms safety training program will provide our citizens an informative and positive experience. Kaitlin is also an instructor at the Basic Law Enforcement Academy for Seminole State College and Valencia School of Public Safety. She is certified instructor, again, in defensive tactics, first aid, taser, and firearms. She is also part of our critical incident stress management team. Kaitlin has made herself available to our law enforcement officers and civilian employees during the aftermath of highly stressful and emotional police incidents to ensure that they have the ability to debrief and decompress from the incidents. Ensuring the mental health of law enforcement officers has been a focal point for law enforcement across the nation over the last several years, and we are beyond grateful that Kaitlin has been part of this effort. Prior to her assignment and training, Kaitlin was assigned to the Metropolitan Bureau of Investigations for 6 years. She worked surveillance as an undercover narcotics investigator. Prior to that assignment, Kaitlin was assigned to community policing for approximately 6 years, where she worked as a school resource officer. During her time as a school resource officer, Kaitlin was recognized with the Excellence in Police Duty ribbon. This recognition was received for implementing the Fantastic Foundations program for Winter Park Elementary Schools, which is still used today. The program teaches our 5th grade students safety topics such as peer pressure, bullying, and anti-drug campaign. Kaitlin works tirelessly in her determination to see every police recruit and sworn law enforcement officer through difficult but life-saving training. She is an invaluable member to the police department. Kaitlin is always professional, polite, and courteous to not only her coworkers, but to every citizen she comes in contact with. We are proud to recognize Kaitlin Gonzalez as our Winter Park Police Officer of the Year.
You know, I always do something wrong up here, but I failed to mention we have an honored guest today with us. Mayor Jerry Deming from Orange County Mayor is with us today. So thank you for being with us. Thank you again to our department heads and our outstanding employees of the year. Now I'd like to introduce Mayor Phil Anderson, who will deliver the State of the City address and present the annual Mayor's Founder Award. Mayor Anderson first served with the City Commission from 2008 to 2011. After a 10-year hiatus, he answered the call and rejoined the Winter Park City Commission, this time as mayor in 2021. For those of you that have known Mayor Anderson as an elected official or personally as Phil, it doesn't matter what hat he wears because he always takes the time to thoughtfully listen before he makes a decision on issues. Mayor Anderson and his wife Jennifer are extremely active in our community. They support many local organizations and are a great example of people who give back to the community in public service. We are fortunate to have you as the 55th mayor, and we will miss your leadership on the dais, and we thank you for your service. Mayor Phil Anderson, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much for the opportunity that you've given me. You know, 3 years ago, I was elected mayor, and it's one of the most wonderful things that I've ever been able to do, and I want to thank you for that privilege of service. You know, when you run for office and serve in the city, the best thing about that is all the people that you meet, all the people you meet in your campaign, all the people you get to know that you work with and work beside for many, many, many hours. And I've really been privileged to work with some wonderful folks. And, you know, to hear the honors bestowed on some of our leading employees, thank you so much for what you do and for giving us the privilege to serve the community. The other thing you learn is you learn to speak from the heart. You know, I'm actually an introverted person, but I had someone give me some great advice. He said, you can prepare everything that you want, you can talk about the topics, but you really need to speak from the heart. And so today, we're going to go through a lot of slides, probably more than we should. They're going to talk about the great things that are going on in Winter Park. But at the heart of it, the strength of our city comes from all the people that serve, all the people that live here, and all the people that work to make it a beautiful place. So thank you to all of you for making Winter Park so special. You know, when I think about the things that really deliver the results and make it a special place, it really comes from three places. It comes from the residents' values. It comes from having sound financial management, and I really have to thank our assistant city manager and our city manager for the leadership that they do to our community to give us the financial strength to achieve so much. And with that, we've been able to do some great things. You know, I talk to people and say, you know, service is really easy if you don't want to change anything. But if you want to make things better, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work for a lot of people. And I think we've done some great things and made lives better. You know, one of the slides or illustrations that I've referred to for the last 3 years, and if you've seen me talk, you're probably sick of this, but this was done in 2016. This is a statement of the resident values. 700 people were asked what makes Winter Park special, and this is a word cloud. And the biggest letters are the things that had the most popular responses, and you can see that the top thing is our history and heritage. That's one of the values that we place in our community. The second is the small town feel. That's hard to keep. But when you're a 140-year-old city, you know, things have changed. But it's what we try to do is keep a small town feel. And then the last is, do you have a proactive plan for the future? Because time doesn't stop. You know, you've got to change. You've got to adapt. And trying to do that while keeping a small town feel can sometimes be tough. But we see the history and heritage of our community every day in our charm and in our scale when you walk down Park Avenue, when you look at going to the Rollins College campus. You see it in how we prioritize our children, how we prioritize those things that make us feel healthy and alive, our parks. And you see it the way we honor history. We've accomplished some great things and we're going to do more things, but one of the things I'm proud about is that we have over 200 historic structures that are on our registry. This is people saying we want to protect that history. Recently we broke ground on the Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Corner, and we'll be breaking ground on our Shady Park exhibit that honors a lot of our history, some local with local founders and some national. What I like to tell people is Winter Park was founded in 1881 or 2, depending on how you want to define it. My little badge says 1882, so we'll use that. But it was founded at a time following the Civil War. It was founded by people who came down from the Congregational Church. They were abolitionists, and they set up a town that could serve the entire spectrum of the community, whether you were moving from the north or surviving from the south. And it's part of our heritage, it's part of our pride, and it's something that we will honor. When you look at our history and heritage, you got to look at the way we prioritize arts and ideas and our education. 3 years after this city was founded, we won a competition for the first college in the state, Rollins College. We started a library. This library that you see right next door had its roots in 1885. That's a long time ago. But it's because we've always honored our education and ideas. Now, keeping that small town feel in the midst of a robust, thriving economy, thank you very much, Mayor Demings, requires that we look at things that we have to adapt to, and we've got to adapt to traffic and how we connect to the region. And we've accomplished a lot. Through a collaboration with the Florida Department of Transportation and a lot of yellow signs sprinkled out that said Fix 426, we were able to bring together a group of people and embark on a project that will start construction in about a year that will make that street, and 426 is it's Fairbanks, and you swing up around the S-curve, and then you go into Aloma. And it's a great place to race cars, and we're trying to put a stop to that. We're going to make it safer, we're going to make it slower, and we're going to make it a place that you can enjoy coming into town. We have a great community called the Community Redevelopment Agency, and it's really a partnership with the county to reinvest in our neighborhoods, to reinvest in our infrastructure, and we're excited about potentially extending that timeline and allowing us to fix more of our stormwater and flood prevention system. It's going to allow us to put more money into keeping housing affordable by preserving homes and expanding the supply of attainable housing. And maybe after 140 years, Fairbanks will look a little better. But there's a lot of things that we can do there, and we're excited about that partnership. One of the things I've enjoyed doing is working with one of our 20, count them 20, resident advisory boards. The Economic Development Advisory Board is a group of folks from Winter Park that are out there to look at what makes economic development work for the residents of Winter Park. We are the voters, we are the people that choose our government, and let's make sure economic development works for residents. And one of the things we said is we've got to keep Park Avenue and our other merchant corridors really active and vibrant and survive, for the next 50 to 100 years. So we spent 2 solid years digging deep into what makes Park Avenue tick. And we came out with one statement: a critical mass of comparison shopping. That's what we got to do. I say that a little tongue-in-cheek, but it's one of those things that sounds, it just is, It's what we're trying to do to make sure we're planning for the future, that we're educating our landlords, we're educating our brokers, we're educating our residents on what makes and keeps Park Avenue special. And I'd also like to recognize that we have formed, as part of the Main Street America, the Park Avenue District. So thank you very much, Corinna, for leading that effort. And then you go to other things that are just even more exciting, especially for a civil engineer who got to work in the electric utility industry for a while. You know, back in 2003, Winter Park made a major decision to control our own destiny. And we ended up buying the power distribution company that serves about 80% of our residents here in Winter Park. And it was a pretty bold move. You know, it was hard fought. It went all the way to the Supreme Court for us to be able to buy back that franchise. And what it has allowed us to do is to take action in how we buy our power and where we buy the power from and what we charge for it and what we do with the money that's left over. And back in 2003, we embarked on a pretty bold plan to take that money and invest in undergrounding our power lines. Since we've done that, the number of storm interruptions has dropped dramatically. Our reliability has improved almost fivefold since we bought this company. It was a bold vision, and we have some bonuses to offer from that too. We actually today have the lowest power rates in the region. Some of it's really good luck, but some of it was a lot of planning, a lot of educated decisions on how we buy and commit to buying our power, and we've been able to pass that vision through to our residents. So looking forward to the next step, you know, what other decisions can we make to control our own destiny? When we're through with the undergrounding of our power lines, which is going to happen around 2029 or 2030, depending on whether we can get the transformers, but I can assure you that Dan has the budget to buy transformers whenever they appear, and it's remarkable how occasionally they appear. But you know, that was a COVID supply chain problem, but we're going to get there. When we're done with that, we have another decision to make. And that decision is that we can control our destiny and we can choose to invest in renewable energy. One of our other boards, the Keep Winter Park Beautiful and Sustainability Board, has been working on a sustainability plan for probably, 5 years? 5 or 6 years? I don't know, where's Mary's here somewhere, she can tell us. But we combined that with our Utility Advisory Board, and for 2 years we studied, you know, what can we do? What's possible? And we came back with an amazing answer. It is absolutely possible to get to 80% renewable energy by 2035 if we make the decision to invest now in our future. And if a few things go right, namely some of this crazy technology gets cheaper in cost, which it will, we may be able to get to 2050, we may be able to get to 100% renewable by 2050. You know, these are visionary things. They didn't just happen. They took a lot of work from a lot of residents. They took a lot of study from our commission. And we know there are things that may change over a horizon that stretches out to 2050. So we're doing it with the ability to change and adapt and with financial benchmarks and controls. You know, so our strength also comes from great financial management. You know, we have the highest reserves that we've ever had in our history, almost $19 million. You know, those are reserves set aside for crises, you know, things like little hurricanes that blow through and, you know, you got to get the trees picked up. And that's one of the things that we're able to use those reserves for. But we've rebuilt those reserves, and now today we have the highest reserves, more than we really need for our average everyday thing, but it's there for crises. But when you look at the way we use those reserves to support our budget, you know, the other part of our budget is having very, very stable revenues. You know, our biggest chunk, you can see the large blue slice, that comes from property taxes. If you're a homeowner, if you're a business owner, if you're a real estate owner, you know that we have had a great property tax value and keeping that part of our revenues very stable. What you may not know is that small blue slice to the bottom left, that's how we participate in the economy around us. You know, thanks to the robust Orange County economy, you know, we are the largest tourism and convention destination in the world. We get to participate in that by a small piece of the sales taxes that your visitors, your friends, and sometimes your children pay when they go to any of our theme parks. So there's a message there, which is, you know, go today and tell your friends. But it helps Winter Park. You know, we're just all about self-help. And, but it's a big part of how we can do what we do here in Winter Park. And I really want to make another note of appreciation to Mayor Demings and all the work that the county does to keep us robust. With the revenues, we have to spend it, and we spend it wisely. You know, the great thing about local government is we have to have a balanced budget. You know, we're not allowed to go out and, you know, print money. Maybe we should, but at the moment we don't. But what that means is we have to balance our budget. Well, you know, people have often told me that budgets are really a reflection of your values. What you spend money on are the things that you think are the most important to you and to your community. And you can see it here. Safety, police, and fire are some of the top priorities here in Winter Park. And then you look at parks, places to relax, places to rejuvenate, places for our kids. That's another part of our big priority. And then lastly, public works. That's a pretty dry word to describe how we keep from knocking the shocks off of our cars, but it keeps our roads in great repair. And frankly, now that, and we've been able to increase a lot of the work that we do on some of our infrastructure. You know, as a civil engineer, you know, this is really cool stuff. Others, you know, just make sure my cars don't bounce around too much. And what does that mean? That means that we can do and deliver great results for our residents, great results for our associates. You know, when we talk about this a lot, our police and fire response time is the top in the region. We have an enlightened and young leadership team that is focused on what it really means to be great police and fire departments. And the fact that we spend hours and hours and hours teaching and training our police officers and our firemen, you know, how to treat residents, how to treat strangers, how to work with homeless populations, you know, this is what goes behind, and how to be really picky about the people that we hire. And I just want to thank our two leaders here for all the work they do in building great teams. And then you look at the fewest open staff positions. I didn't know how to word this, but what this really means is, you know, we have about 550 people that work for the city. We only have about 15 open spots. A year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, that was 50. We had 50 open spots. When you have open spots, you can't patrol the roads. When you have open spots, you can't deliver amazing service. And we had to figure out how to plug that. And thank you, Vice Mayor Sheila DeCiccio and the other members of our commission. We realized that we had to adjust what our pay scales were. We had to respond to the market. We had to be able to do that to hold on to and attract the best people to come into Winter Park. And because we've done that, we now have almost a full staffing, and it makes a big difference in the quality of the experience you feel in Winter Park. I think the last one I mentioned already, you know, basically we have an increased capacity, thank you, Charles, for, you know, pothole repairs and keeping our sewers clean and that kind of thing. But thank you, but it's reflected in the quality of services that you receive. You know, it's also given us strong results for our parks. You know, Martin Luther King Jr. Park will have a new Castle Park for the kids sometime by the end of the year. Our Winter Park Pines acquisition, we acquired about 93 acres. We did it in a way where it funded itself, and today it's generating about a 20+% operating margin. And it is in better condition than it has been in many, many years. And it is actually the top played course in all of Central Florida. It's a great family course. I didn't put it on a slide, but someday we're actually going to finish Seven Oaks Park. Not during my term, apparently, but we did get the trees planted. We're underway with the road realignments, which took a long time. And I think by the end of the year, you will see an amazing park. What you'll also see as part of that park is what cities also do for their business community. We've added parking that makes that whole corridor safer for those folks that want to visit Foxtails or any of our other retailers. And that's just what cities do. That's what we get tasked with doing, making the community safer and better. We also have delivered strong results for our homeowners. If you've owned your home since 2000, you've experienced about a 7% growth rate in the value of your home. These are amazing. This is the highest growth rate of any of our categories of real estate. But the good news is, if you are a homesteaded owner, you will never see your taxes go up by that much. They're all capped at 3%. We've been able to do that without changing the millage rate and keeping our millage rate constant, which frankly is the lowest in the region, with one exception down in Windermere. And I love Windermere. It's not quite the same, but we're close. We've also been able to deliver great results for our retailers and institutions. One of the things that we did coming out of COVID is we tripled our expenditure on holiday lights and events for the Christmas season and the holiday season. And it blew our retailers out of the water. They did a great job. The success of our retailing seasons for the last 3 years have been amazing. But now we'll talk about our library. Thank you very much. Our leader of our library is right over here, Michelle. The city participates heavily in helping to fund the library. It's been a matter of pride, as I mentioned, since 1885. And today, with the city's increased funding, we're now ranked second in the state. And we're probably that far away from being first-ranked library in the state. Circulation is way up, and on February 25th, we're going to open the doors for the first time since the new building opened on Sundays. And this is a big deal. What the library does is they do so much more than checking out books. We have so many meetings there of entrepreneurs. There is an entire floor dedicated to kids. There's free Wi-Fi. There are things that you would be amazed to find in any library. But this is a place where our kids and young adults can hang over the weekend and really be a part of developing those ideas and that excitement. And lastly, we've delivered strong results for our businesses. Winter Park's commercial office is at 94%. That's against the national average of 80%. We're doing something right, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But if you look at Park Avenue occupancy up to 99% from 91% back during the COVID period. But one of the things we're doing right is with the Chamber of Commerce's leadership, they pinpointed that we're playing to our strengths. And one of the strengths that Winter Park has is the ability to attract financial services, business owners, and nonprofit headquarters into our community. It's this great cycle of education, great places to bring clients and to visit, housing, and services. And this is a great segment that delivers very, very high wages and basically helps us keep our community vital. All of this sort of comes together, but at the heart of it, it's what matters to the people who live and work and play in Winter Park. And honoring these values, keeping these values at the heart of what we do and choose to do, day after day, is what makes Winter Park special and the people that are here. But now I have the most amazing opportunity to recognize one of those people that has done so much for Winter Park over many, many years. So Mary Daniels, if I would have the honor of you joining me up here on the stage. You know, Mary's been a resident of Winter Park for a long time, and she has served in so many ways. She's been a part of the Welborn Avenue Day Nursery. She's been a part of the Hannibal Square Community Land Trust. She's been on the advisory council of the Rollins Center for Lifelong Learning, and then you got to go to page 2. You know, she's provided a lot of work in our city services, being on the CRA program and evaluation committee, planning and zoning, civil service, and most recently on the MLK Jr. Park planning and the Shady Park planning. She's been recognized by a lot of different organizations. Today I get to recognize her for all of it, all of the work that she's done here in the city with the Mayor's Founders Award. And I'll say a word about this is the Mayor's Founders Award, don't drop it.
I was going to let you hold.
But just a little story about this. This is actually an original sculpture from an artist named Toby McGee. And I met Toby McGee in 2004 at the Winter Park Arts Festival, and I thought he did amazing work. And I thought, you know, there's nothing more fitting than honoring a beautiful person with something that's also beautiful. So with that, I'd like to give you this award, Mary, on behalf of the city.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I'm very humbled, very appreciative that someone like me could even be considered for such an award. A couple of my favorite quotes from MLK, Martin Luther King, and one of them says that, if I can't do great things, I can do small things in great ways. The other one is, darkness cannot remove darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot remove hate. Only love can do that. I choose love. So, just remember, and regardless to who you are or where you live, be active in the community, in your prospective community. Do what you can do. And to all the blessings that has been given to you, play it forward and bless someone else. Thank you.
Now we reach the part of the program where our commissioners get to share their perspectives on a topic, and we've have one question we're going to ask each of them. In that bowl, I wanted to put controversial topics and just draw what they had to talk about, but I also want to keep my job for a few more years, so the question we're going to ask each commissioner in seat order is, can you tell us what your top priorities for the next few years are? And we're going to start with Commissioner seat 1, Marty Sullivan.
Thank you, Randy. Mayor Phil, that's a tough act to follow. Fine job. Thank you. So I just want to start off saying, serving you along with my fellow commissioners has been a very rewarding opportunity personally. Not going to the bank rewarding, but to be able to serve and respond. And my goal has been to stick with our comprehensive plan and our vision plan in terms of looking off into the future long after I have left this position. One thing we have done, I'm going to speak about things we are doing that takes us far into the future. One thing we are doing right now, however, is we banned gasoline leaf blowers 2 years ago, and we look to begin enforcing that ban in the start of 2025. My goal is to stick with the plan, so we reduce the noise and pollution, and we help protect the health and hearing of the landscapers. However, looking farther into the future, we have developed and are developing plans that look many years ahead. And in order to take care of, not us today, but future generations. One is we have a 20-year transportation plan, transportation improvement plan covering pedestrians, bicycles, transit, as well as private vehicles. It'll be expensive, but we knew it would be. So that plan is in place and covers an entire span of 20 years. That's one item looking to the far future. We have a 25-year capital improvement plan that was initiated by Mayor Phil, and that balances our predicted available money against what we need to do in terms of capital improvements. We currently have a stormwater study for the city. We will be getting the results of those and integrating those into how to improve our stormwater system. And again, this is another one that's not going to be cheap, but we want to help protect the city from stormwater flooding on into the far future. As Mayor Phil mentioned, we have put together a plan to attain 100% renewable energy by the year 2050. So we've got next 26 years to work on this, and we have a step-by-step plan with reevaluating frequently as we move along this plan to get to 100% renewable energy. So going on into the future, I really look forward to hearing from each of you, your ideas and your opinions, and incorporating those into the time I continue to serve as your commissioner. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner, seat 2, Vice Mayor Sheila DeCiccio.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everyone for coming today. Since the city began hosting this event 3 years ago, attendance has grown exponentially every year. It is open to all residents, businesses, and friends. Also, what a great way for you to meet all the departments who keep this city running and give so much of their time to making Winter Park so wonderful. A huge shout out and thank you to all staff. I also want to thank Mayor Anderson for his outstanding service and guidance as mayor. What an honor it has been to serve with him. Winter Park emerged from the pandemic stronger than ever because of his steady hand and strong leadership. Our heartfelt thanks for all you have done. You will be missed. Mary Daniels, you are an example to all a treasure to Winter Park. No one deserves this award more than you. My sincerest thanks and love to you. Now, on to top priorities. Infrastructure, I know everyone's heard it a number of times. This includes stormwater, drainage, streets, sidewalks, bike paths, traffic, congestion, flooding. The commission has adopted, as both Mayor Anderson and Commissioner Sullivan has stated, a transportation master plan to address the roads, sidewalks, bike paths, streets. There's a lot of work to be done, from connecting sidewalks at start and end to making roads, bike paths safer, connecting our parks from Mead to Seven Oaks to MLK so residents feel comfortable walking, which will mean fewer cars if you feel safe walking and biking. We've commissioned the 3 basin studies to advise what needs to be done today, tomorrow, and we can put in our capital plan, improvement plan for the years to come. We've received funding, and we're already using those grants to drain our canals, to fix our weirs, et cetera. So we are working on it, but this is going to be a continuing obligation that the city has. We must get our infrastructure fixed so businesses and residents will want to continue to live and work here. I want to continue to listen to all of you. As I said earlier, you are the eyes and ears and the voices that keeps Winter Park thriving. It's truly an honor to represent everyone. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go on script and off script, and so I'm just going to kind of flow, because a lot of the stuff that I am concerned about, the other members of the commission are also concerned about. Infrastructure, stormwater, transportation. So these are things that are visionary for us to keep moving the ball forward with providing enhancements and a better quality of life. I think one of the things that moved me here today was seeing Mary Daniels up here, and the thought of to whom much is given, much is expected comes to mind. And I can't help but think that with a city as strong as we are actually practicing that. We're practicing getting involved. We're neighborly. We're being tender to one another. We are helping each other. But one thing that I want to try to do is invite more younger people to get involved. In the very beginning, when I started to run, it was very difficult to get other younger members of the community that live in Winter Park to get involved because of young kids, busy work schedules. And so if you know somebody that has time, that can give time, please reach out. Our city needs new, younger visionaries to carry this forward. We can't do it without younger people getting involved and trying to understand more about what makes our quality of life and our quality of service very high. And so I want to thank the mayor for all his work and effort. He's been great on the dais, having led to better discussions amongst all of us, more civil, and bringing out the best talking points in regards to how we should be treating each other and policies that we should be enacting. So thank you. I will always be open and listening to everybody in this community. I think one of the things that I was moved by this past year was the Winter Park Commons project. And again, I went to Mary Daniels in the Hannibal Square neighborhood and Martha Bryan, and I asked, is this something that you want to have happen? And I listened intently, and I don't know if many of you know that I like to walk. So that's a part of who I am. I like to walk, knock on doors, meet our residents, because that's the only way we can break down barriers and truly understand, sitting on our front lawns or our front porches, to find out what really matters to all of us. Because sometimes, at the end of the day, if we don't know who we are affecting and who we are as a community, we will make decisions without having somebody in our mind and in our thoughts that we're representing. And one other story I want to add is when I was walking Winter Park Commons in November, December, I came across Mexie Roberts. And this is a circle of life thing for me, or a circle of how things can affect you. She invited me into her house, and her house is right next to Winter Park Commons, or she owns a house right next to Winter Park Commons. And as I went inside, I looked on her wall, and there was a picture of her father in military service uniform. And I'm like, oh, your dad was in the service. And she's like, yeah, but he passed away. I'm like, I'm sorry to hear that. And I looked closer at the picture, and it was a picture of him in service in the Philippines. And so if any of you know that my cultural background is Filipino. And so to be standing in her doorway and trying to find out what really matters about her and see that picture on the wall, it really brought it full circle. Because my parents were alive during the war and had to live through the Japanese occupation. But here I am in this great country, in this great state, in this great county, in this great city, being able to help somebody that her father may have helped my family long ago. And so that is something that is truly moving to me, and that is the type of community that Winter Park is. We're all here to help each other. We're all here to be called neighborly, and we have a vision that sets out something that can keep growing and keep giving us the high quality of life and quality of service. So thank you.
I want to thank you for spending your morning with us. Before you leave, please take some refreshments because we're trying to cut the fat out of City Hall. So, and if you have neighbors and friends that missed the meeting today, we'll be putting a recording of the meeting on our website at citywinterpark.org. So invite them to watch it that way. And again, thank you for being here. This ceremony's over. Thank you.